Hey there and welcome. My name is Pete and the final quarter of the year has officially begun, so I would say it's time for another channel update video. On the surface, it may appear as if not a whole lot happened to Pete Complete in the last 3 months, but that is mostly because the stuff that did happen took place away from the channel. Yeah, I got married. As you know, I am not one to share too much of my private life on here, but this is hopefully a once-in-a-lifetime occasion, and I am mostly letting you know about it to justify why business around the channel was a bit slow in the past. As you can imagine, organizing an event like that takes a lot of time and effort, and well, we are both somewhat leaning towards the perfectionist side, even if it ended up being a rather casual affair. I would honestly love to share some photos, but I'm not really comfortable doing that. Suffice it to say, it was a perfect day. Things went exactly as we hoped they would, and I'm now a married man to a partner who's been with me since before the channel was launched and who has supported me through everything. The late nights working, the weekend recording sessions, the usually short holidays because YouTube just punishes you for being away and not uploading for too long, all the way to putting all my eggs into this one basket, quitting my job at the university and becoming a full-time content creator. And I know that at times this year, for you it may not have felt like me making that switch to full-time YouTuber changed anything, and that is mostly because this whole getting married project took up so much of my time. But in the end it was well worth it, and I hope you understand that my priorities were not always on the channel these last few months. With that being said, let's take a brief look at the state of the channel, specifically at what's currently being played. First of all, RimWorld is and will most likely always be the most popular series whenever it's on. The Odyssey expansion has brought a fresh new vibe to the game that I really enjoy, even if we're taking it slow in the current series and are not immediately rushing the Grafship gameplay too much. I know that some of you wanted to get more Odyssey content in the early episodes, but I wanted to build a Grafship organically and tell a story that is unique, and with the crash-landed taxonomist Brian and his Colossus Toad Heezer, I think that worked nicely, even if it required some gameplay variety sacrifices. We are getting close to the point though where the Grafship will become a more central part of the playthrough, so if the early episodes left you a bit disappointed, I encourage you to stick around or to catch up on the events so far. I've got a lot more planned for the series and we're only just getting started. Only just getting started, ironically, also perfectly describes the state of the Baldur's Gate 3 series, despite 21 episodes already behind us. Honestly, it's been a few years since a game was last able to captivate me to the extent of this one. Each episode is an absolute blast to record. After several hundred hours, I still adore the game and its storytelling, and the fact that we still have so much of Act 1 left to cover absolutely blows my mind. Add to that the no damage taken challenge that somewhat organically settled in after the first few episodes, and the game is also scratching every last of my tactical itches. I know I said at some point that I would probably take a break from it after completing Act 1, but to be honest, I am no longer so sure about that. Finally, we've got The Sims 3 World Adventures, a project that has taken a bit of a backseat at the moment, also because it is clearly not as popular as the other two. Essentially, I record episodes whenever I get to it, or just feel like I need to play something a little less stressful, as it is definitely a slower-paced, more relaxed alternative to the sometimes brutal difficulty of the other games I play. Nonetheless, I do feel like the Sims franchise is a hidden gem for completionists like me. Sure, about 80% of the game are usually easily accessible, and just by playing normally you can tick off a lot of things from your list, but those last 20% really demand an entirely different mindset. I am still dreading those last few photography collections, but at the same time, the completionist approach also has me explore and discover things I never really experienced in my own playthroughs before. So, with those 3 series currently going on, I don't think anything new is on the horizon in the immediate future. I am very much aware that a few projects are currently in a not-so-complete state. We still have those dream missions for Tactical Breach Wizards left to do, for example. I also, perhaps somewhat overzealously, started a starter guide for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and never really made it past the first video. I don't know why exactly. I definitely enjoy the game, but sometimes when you put a game down for too long, it's just hard to get back into it, and I think that's what I'm currently experiencing with this one. Now, one game I weirdly cannot put down at the moment is Gen 1 Pokemon. I've been playing a lot of it lately while on holiday, and you know me, I can't just play something casually. I think I already have about 10 pages of notes and at least 2 large spreadsheets, and so without promising anything, how would you feel about a well-researched completionist walkthrough of Generation 1? Is that something you'd like to see, or do you feel like it doesn't really fit the channel? And before you jump into the comments, let me also give a quick heads up that the channel's 10-year anniversary is coming up in March 2026, so we still have a bit of time. But if you have any ideas, wishes or suggestions to celebrate, feel free to let me know as well. And with that, I think I've said everything I wanted to say in this video, but as always, before we make the cut, I also want to give a big shout out to all the new channel members and Patreon supporters who joined since the last channel update. On that note, a quick reminder, if you would like to support what I do and don't know where to do it, Patreon currently takes a much smaller cut of your money, so more of your pledge ends up with me. But of course, if you prefer the ease of doing it all right here on YouTube, I fully understand and I'm grateful for it either way. This is something that no content creator should take for granted, and I want you to know that it means a whole lot to me if you're willing to financially support what I'm doing. Just try not to do it from an Apple device, they take an extra fee that can easily be avoided. So with all of that being said, let's get to it then. As always, in no particular order, I want to give a big shout out and say thank you for their support to David Shimak, Dralf, Sven Timmerlin, Willie Coyote, Edward Downer, Klein, Patches the First, David J, Tox, Metahan Doiran, Mako, Nisel, Addy, Robin, Enigmatosis, Cat, Lucas Bonnet, A Whisper of Roses, Anna Mose, Like 30 Fries, Abraham Rodriguez, Hayden Gasser, Thomas Brush, Solid Snack, Alexander Knight, Sam, Eptide 71, Two Above, Aaron Kuna, Tony Zuko, Copper Havoc, Horse, Mattia Klasink, Mick Eggenberg, Hazy, Draco Walaski, Choco, Bipple, Fenian Quinn, Valinard, Arcani079, Adrian Hellberg, David Woodward, Clickout Flies, Sergio Nasher, Evan Gerhardt, Curtis Shepard, Adrian, Justin Fontaine, Thantwar, Locksins, Magna Brink, Flanman, Spencer Barnett, Nadanate, MacTag23, Hawk, Eliza, Lawrence Hamburg, Darren Skillback, Lagbar, Liz Lilith, Terrace Kitsch, Sirius, Grace the Lizard, Quinn Shoemaker, Ola Liliaudit, Havo, Julia P, Salt Mage, Wheatley, Peter Completely, Mitchell Rizzo, Pugsley, Judah Yuki, Cthulhu Master, Mortis, Lord Tomato 66, Tong Nguyen Chao, Aeon 515, Captain, Phil Barsanti, Alexandra Donizetti, The THX, Martin Sears, Cascaino, Blueberry Muffin, and Sean Moore. Some of those names have already made it into our series, but for all of you, I hope I pronounced your names correctly. Above all though, thank you all so much for your generous support. And with that, let's wrap things up for today. I hope you enjoyed this short channel update, and if you did, then I would be very happy if you could leave a thumbs up. If you like what I'm doing and want to support me and my channel further, you can of course go ahead and subscribe to stay up to date, grab some merch over on shop.petecomplete.com, or become a channel member or Patreon supporter. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.